I double checked the stream key, but we'll see. Come on. There we are. Okay.
We're good.
We're good.
All right. Hey, guys. Welcome to episode 310 of the Trinity Force podcast. Pone is out for the night at a very exciting masquerade ball or just a gender reveal party. It's kind of the same thing, right?
I love that they do that every Mardi Gras.
Yeah. The gender reveal party. Yeah.
Right.
That's the best part. We are here finishing up our latest, I guess our last preseason, season 6 discussion. So here tonight we have Chira.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, I'm gonna mess up the order that we always do, I guess.
That's fine.
We got
It's
Declad.
Pone's rule.
Hello.
We got Punch.
Hey, everybody.
And from Forwards, we have Haberdashing. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I am super excited about all these changes.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Haber got to play.
Yeah, both of you.
Got to play a good bit of PBE as well. So brought him in for the last installment. We're going to be covering anything we didn't get quite yet, as well as some of the smaller changes because we covered broad spectrum for pretty much everything the last few episodes, and then delved really deep into stuff that we just probably shouldn't have delved that far into. But yeah, it happens. The last little bit of news, if you guys didn't remember, bit.ly/tforce coach will take you to a link to sign up for one of our sponsors. I believe it's Weldon Green doing his coaching.
Yeah, it's through Weldon Green's coaching staff.
So yeah, check that out. I don't know all the details. Just do it. It's cheaper. Yeah, patch 5.22 just went live today, which brought all the Marksman changes, the big Marksman changes we've already talked about, but we have a few other ones. For the smaller changes, we got Ashe. Her pass has been changed a little bit. Still scales from 5 to 25% on her slows. And this part I'm not really sure of. It's she actually critical strikes now, but they only deal her total attack damage,
normal damage.
Yeah,
base damage, but double the effectiveness of her slow.
Right. So a crit for her now is just increased slow. But she still gains the increased damage when she attacks a frosted target.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool, but it's not. I think does Infinity Edge make it 2.5% of the
critical multiplier damage does increase her bonus damage.
Okay. Does it increase the effectiveness of the slow?
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so either.
That'd be a little too much.
That'd be kind of crazy. Her Q, little bit of difference. It's no longer able to be activated until you hit 5 stacks, I believe, and it has no cooldown. So you're not able to activate it early and get, I think, an attack speed buff. Now it just is the rapid fire shots at 5 stacks whenever you can build that up, which is kind of cool. But volley and your ultimate no longer add stacks. So
yeah, I tested that out. I tested Q out a little bit, and yeah, so you get 5 stacks, you activate it, and then you can't build stacks anymore. So you have to wait for that to run out before you can start stacking up to 5 again. So it's got kind of like a pseudo
ammo
cooldown, but no hard cooldown.
yeah, and
It's
then
like an ammo counter,
I don't think so.
kind of.
Well, because
Or
it's
do you
still
all
it's you
five at
still.
once?
Wait, what?
Yeah, when you stack it up and you use it, it goes on cooldown. Then what happens?
I think you go back to 0 stacks, and so you have to
Right.
redo
Okay,
it.
so
Stack up
cools down,
you gotta
then you-
attack 5 more
okay.
times.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. And then the other small change, her volley now automatically crit strikes, in the purposes of her frost shot slow. So instead of like volley used to apply your passive just normally, I believe it now doubles that, which is kind of cool. Makes it a better chasing tool than just the small amount of slow you'd normally get. So I don't know. I don't think this really changes her very much, but it makes her a bit more supporty focused, even though she was already kind of the support marksman.
Utility.
It gives her more utility.
Yeah.
Or at least doubles down on the utility that she was already providing.
Yeah.
She gets a little bit more damage just because you can get Q up more often. But she's still not. I mean, she still plays the same way. She's not bursty. She's damage over time.
Yeah. Draven, small changes. I don't really even feel like they're that useful to cover.
We got more important things to go over.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't feel
Ezreal,
nicer anyways.
yeah, he's nicer, I guess. That even though that doesn't really fit. Ezreal, Q and E cooldowns are up, but you get a bit more cooldown reduction on your Q. It used to be 1 second, now it's 1.5. It looks like everything's kind of getting bumped up by a little bit of cooldown, like Arcane Shift's going up by 0, scaling up to 2 seconds per level, so it's 19 to 13 instead of 19 to 11. Mystic Shot's up a little bit, but I guess if you're hitting Mystic Shot, you're still getting it at the same cooldown as before.
Yeah,
Right.
Mystic Shot's at 0.5 additional seconds per level.
Yeah, so it's slightly, well, depending how much cooldown reduction, it's slightly less cooldown at max rank now.
Yeah, and also if you're, it only really hurts you if you're missing Q. It stays pretty similar without cooldown reduction, I guess.
It's designed to make it more adaptable to the Essence Reaver. So
Yeah. All right, Jinx.
Most likely to be seen more of.
Yeah.
Right.
Jinx is. Oh, I'm really like Jinx's change. Or at least I'm excited to see how it works.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Right.
Oh,
Her passive Get Excited now stacks, increasing Jinx's attack speed by 15% per stack and lasts 6 seconds. Which, what I read is that it doesn't actually have a cap. Like you can get, well, obviously you can only get up to 2.5 attacks per second, but you could get, I guess we could say theoretically infinite.
If people keep respawning, you keep killing them.
Yeah, but that'd be crazy. It wouldn't do anything to help you, but it'd be really funny to see if you could like sandbox release the cap. It'd be like you break the game in terms of just how much would be on screen at once.
Oh, God.
That'd be sweet. And duration increased by 2 seconds. That's a pretty big buff for that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it still decays over time, but still 2 whole seconds? That's really huge.
So I wonder, it really decays slower now then.
Right.
So so.
Obviously. I don't know why I had to point that out. Go ahead.
No, the only other small change to Jinx, she loses 15% attack speed while using her rocket launcher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kind of hurts her, but I mean,
so using rockets now is more for getting off intermittent poke or like hitting a turret with it than almost anything else.
Yeah, I mean, Jinx could get away with just staying in a rocket stance an entire team fight.
Yeah.
Depending on how dangerous it was. But they really want to incentivize, you really should get in there with minigun. That's what you're supposed to do. Supposed to just stand at max range the whole time.
Yeah, it's giving more, obviously, incentive for, her minigun instead of the rocket launcher, just because that is just the default always when you're in a team fight.
Well, it also gives it giant multiplicative gains in attack speed when you kill somebody, so that's a snowball harder mechanic.
True.
Sounds fun, guys. Let's throw extra attack speed on Jinx, whatever.
I mean, rocket launcher would still be good since I mean it would still be good once you get the attack speed stacks off your minigun because those carry over to your rocket launcher briefly, and you can't pass up the opportunity to AOE critically hit a group of people.
Isn't it just the first
you want to
rocket?
start off a minigun.
What's the first rocket?
The attack speed buff from the minigun. Doesn't it only affect the first one?
Is it just the first one? I thought it was the first couple.
It's as long as the buff. It used to be as long as the buff lasts. So like even when you switch, it'll still have that buff. But I mean, it decays pretty quickly when you're not using minigun. But as soon as you
attack
switch
speed reduction, it'll probably be just the first one then, going forward.
Yeah, and it is like total attack speed.
No, it is. It's after her first. They will not grant attack speed after her first basic attack.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. That's. I mean, so it's not like you're already getting hurt more. So that 15% is actually worse. It's even worse than when you have those Qs stacked up. You're losing 15%, and after that first one, none of that minigun stacks will be helping you if you stay in rocket stance. So that's interesting. But yeah, if she gets 2 or 3 stacks on Get Excited, that's going to be scary. How many rockets are going to get pumped out?
Right.
Now, would the passive on Get Excited
Apply
with the
to
15%, does that apply to the rockets as well? Because it's like, cool, you switch. Let's say you go into a fight, you start off in rocket form, so you get one long range rocket off. You immediately switch to the minigun. So you're running up, you get a kill. Let's say you get another kill. You might have all that extra attack speed from minigun, but you also have 30% built-in attack speed from just getting 2 kills. Can you just immediately switch back to fish bones and still have a net bonus
Yeah,
of
I think you
15%
would.
attack speed.
Yeah.
So now, like, okay, cool. You enter a fight, you kill people, you get, let's say, 45% attack speed. You immediately switch to fish bones. You continue to do what you could do in the past, where you could sit in rocket form in a team fight, and you have 30% increased attack speed for 6 seconds in rocket form, just because you helped get a kill.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're usually using rocket form because you're chasing somebody.
Yeah.
Just the team fight's broken at that point.
Right.
So yeah.
So it makes her chasing even easier a little bit, as long as you can stay in range to shoot rockets at people.
Yeah.
And you got 2 kills or assists prior to that.
I mean, that's kind of what Jinx already is about.
Exactly. It's a snowball harder mechanic.
Yeah. No,
it scares the hell out of me.
That's what everyone's getting their little. They're focusing each AD carry's power on something specific, and hers is the snowball harder. AD carry, like the snowball harder hyper carry. So I like that thematically. Let's get off of her though, because we'll talk about her all night. Callista, pretty small stuff. Base attack speed got bumped up, but her attack speed per level got bumped down. Not sure if that breaks even. And then her passive, speed of the jump, only scales with attack speed now. So if you have more attack speed, you'll jump faster. You can also be slowed. If your attack speed gets slowed, you will jump slower.
So this does not affect her distance, correct?
No, that's still boots.
Her jump speed
I believe
different.
that's still boots affects the jump
tier.
distance.
Yeah.
Boots tier. So small stuff.
Well, I mean, like, having that base attack speed that much higher at level 1 does really help for using your passive, the Martial Poise, because that was a big thing. Like when they first initially reduced her attack speed early on, you could really notice it. So I think it does actually help her early in laning.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the difference. It's 0.65 or really 0.66 to pretty much 0.7. So it sounds small, but it's pretty big. It'll probably be at least a little noticeable to Callistas who are pretty experienced on her. Lucian, his ult, real quick change. His ult no longer scales with a number of bullets. Doesn't scale with attack speed. It's now 20, 25, or 30 based on rank. Super simple. It also helps him a little bit because he's going to be building Essence Reaver.
Yeah, Essence Reaver, Trinity Force, you're done.
Yeah, the cooldown. He'll be more cooldown based. He'll be the 80 version of Corki in terms of use a shit ton of abilities.
Yep. Just go back to that 40% CDR Lucian build.
I love it. for the little amount of change he got, I'm actually really excited to play him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
With that CDR, and you can hop around like old Lucian.
Exactly.
That's the fun build.
Yeah, it is. Okay, Sivir, attack speed reduced. W scales better with cooldown reduction. That's just a change to her. A change to the cooldown is on cast instead of when you use your last W or when it expires. So that's kind of cool. That helps you a little bit if you were to use it early and I guess not finish off the attacks, like you're running away and you need to get it up later. It's not a huge change, but no. I think Tristana is probably the biggest of the non-gigantic marksman changes.
It makes me hate her even more.
So there's been so many changes to Tristana over the last year or so. What they're taking away is the Q to E cooldown loop, which is, I believe, if you were autoing somebody with explosive charge while Q was active, your rapid fire, you would reduce the cooldown on rapid fire, correct?
Right.
No, it reduces. No, it's both. It reduces both cooldowns. It used to. Either way, it that doesn't happen anymore. So she's not getting like infinite tower siege pressure just from that. But instead, W gets reset. Your rocket jump gets reset. So you remember it already resets whenever you get a kill or an assist. It now resets whenever explosive charge detonates at maximum stacks on champions. So you get even more like jump ability, which I don't know if that's what she needs.
You get more mobility if you're doing things.
Somebody hates it.
I really don't think it's that big of a deal.
No, it's not.
First of all, it's really hard to get max stacks off of somebody. And second of all, when you do, they're probably dead unless they're a tank. In which case, you don't really want to jump into the tank.
That's the thing. You go out on someone and they manage to survive for whatever reason. At least your Buster Shot applies that extra explosive charge. So when it blows up, hopefully you get a jump to get the hell out of dodge.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's more of an escape thing. Like if you have to attack a tank or somebody you're not gonna be able to kill, that's a good way to get another
ability dump.
Well, the new
right
thing,
now you have an extra option to get out.
Since her rocket jump and Buster Shot now can apply explosive charge stacks, you get 2 auto attacks. You go in rocket jump, ulti. You can instantly rocket jump back.
Well, it also gives her more power in that if you're using your ultimate as a finisher and you have the explosive charge up anyway, you can just time it to get an even bigger finisher boost. So in the past, whenever you've seen that Tristana run over, hit R, not kill somebody, ends up saving them and then runs away, this will help with that as long as you can time your explosive charge stacks.
And a big thing that factors into this is how the explosion goes off as soon as you hit 5 stacks now, as opposed to you used to have to auto attack one more time or let it expire to get that stack.
Right.
Now you get that burst comes out quicker, so anytime damage comes out faster, that's good for you, for Tristana in this case, and it's going to reset your W faster.
Do you think there's a chance that you're going to see a lot more people do the explosive charge onto somebody, maybe a tank, get like 2 or 3 on them, and then Buster Shot them into their team, and then rocket jump on top of them to detonate it?
That would be actually
that'd be incredible.
Yeah,
I'd
overkill.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit overkill. Also,
here guys, you can help me get this kill.
If you didn't pentakill them, you'd die instantly.
Right. It's worth a shot.
It's worth trying at least. Moving on down, Twitch. His Q now resets. The Q is his ambush, turns him invisible, gives him attack speed when he comes out of it.
Breaks invisibility.
When he breaks invisibility. Now resets cooldown when an enemy champion affected by his passive dies. And entering stealth cancels his current basic attack command, which is kind of cool, where you had issues if you were entering stealth and you just autoed right at the end of it, or were starting an auto and you just immediately lost your stealth.
Smoother.
Rip.
Yeah.
I'm just glad they're not releasing him like they first thought they were going to on the PBE.
Which was...
He had increased crit chance on his ulti for the target he was attacking, and it was fucking broken.
Right. I forgot about that. Yeah, I remember seeing that and thinking it was crazy. His ulti did get changed a little bit. It dropped the duration 2 seconds, so it's down to 5. The mana cost got set to a steady 100 mana from 100, 125, and 150, which is, I think, oddly one of the few like ultimates that actually scaled up in mana cost. I'm probably going to be very wrong on that. But... Okay, so while you're stealthed, you can now use it, and it doesn't break stealth?
Yes. Right. You can activate your ultimate. It doesn't break stealth, but as soon as you attack, that still breaks stealth.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking you were just going to fire for invisible the whole time.
That would be nuts.
That would be so broken. Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, I had to test it just to make sure, but yeah, I stealthed up to my target, activated ultimate, I was still stealth, and as soon as I attacked, I was visible again.
It just allows you to position better without them knowing where you're at, so you can actually get your ult off on more than one person or get closer to them to get more hits of your ult off on somebody, which is really, really nice because, I mean, I haven't played Twitch in a really long time, but I remember way back when if you had to sit way back in a fight because they had somebody who would immediately dive and you couldn't really get into a solid spot to hit them with your ult, and you're sitting all the way at the back, you pop it and then they just run away and you're not really able to catch up. That wasn't exactly fun or a great use of your ult, especially when, at least how the projectiles used to work in the past, because it was kind of seen as like you would shoot it, and if they moved
back where you could actually dodge his ultimate.
Yeah, you could dodge his ultimate so that even though he was autoing you
to the left.
Even though it was autoing at you, if you weren't directly in the path of it, you weren't getting hit by it. So this should help with that too, and that Twitch should be able to get closer than the max range which you might be able to dip out of his ult with. And that's scary because who remembers back when Twitch just pops up and murders your entire team because he could? You're going to have the opportunity to do that more than you would in the past.
I remember that from my nightmares.
I miss playing Twitch. That shit was fun.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, a couple more marksmen. Varus, his ultimate damage went down a good chunk. It's actually pretty weak damage-wise, 100, 175, 250. His ult's the one that chains rooting targets. But it rooted targets now gain 3 stacks of blight over the duration of the root, which I assume is going to be once every 2/3 of a second because it's a 2-second root, which is kind of cool. So you're getting a little bit of extra damage to, I guess, like you can, once you've rooted them, you can maybe auto once or twice, fire a Q or E, auto once or twice again, and then get a Q. So you get like 2 max blight stack pops on a target.
If you wanted, I have a feeling it's going to be an efficient way to do this, but you would immediately go in, you're going to get blight stacks more quickly than you would, so you can actually time when you're going to Q or E to get a bunch of extra percentage health damage on somebody if they eat the entire duration of your ult, which is really, really scary because Varus already puts out a lot of damage with just Q poke. Now if you're squishy and you get hit by this, he's going to be doing how many?
This still does have the full AP ratio.
Right. Did you seeing AP Varus back in the mix?
It does incentivize it a little bit if you're getting more blight stacks out.
Yeah. No, it's
let's see here. All right.
Probably not.
Bonus magic damage.
What are you looking for, Tira?
What's the total max amount? 2%. Okay. So it's 5% of your 5% magic damage based off that. Yeah, out of the target's max health. So you're doing 15% of the target's max health plus some change just for getting 3 blight stacks. So you can immediately, within the duration of your ult, do 30% of somebody's health as long as you're able to time your abilities correctly while you're doing it.
And that's just the pop. That's not in addition to the actual damage from the ability, the auto abilities and the Q and E damage. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, for that first level, you're trading 50 flat damage for potentially a shit ton more.
To potentially half healthing them in the duration of your ult.
I think
it
that's
makes
going to help
a tank much less depressing.
I think that's going to help mid lane. I think that's going to help mid lane more than his dual lane, because you're going to want to have that 1v1 situation where you hit that ult and are able to do that. Then if you have like an enemy support who's able to shut you down for part of that ult duration. I mean, that's where he was already being played anyways in pro play. Like, it's not like Varus was at all picked in bot lane.
Even
not in pro play, but in this regular solo queue was pretty common.
With these changes, this is gonna get trolly again, but if you did go full AP, and let's just say you had 600 AP, which is whatever,
it hits like a fucking truck.
Yeah, let's just say you had 600 AP, so that's a bonus 12% of the target's max health and damage to the 15% you're already doing if you have the 3 stacks. That's crazy. That's that's a stupid amount of bonus damage.
Yeah. And it does, it's either like 0.9 or 1.0 AP ratio on his ult.
It's 1.0.
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't I'm not gonna say people are gonna be rushing going AP Varus. It'd be fun to play around with. I'm interested in seeing it happen.
I like doing AP Varus every once in a while.
It would just be the W and R pretty much. Everything.
You're banking. All your other abilities or whatever. You're just trying to stack as many blighted quiver stacks as you can and pop abilities on them as quickly as possible. Right. I still see AD Varus being way more popular, and this helps out Varus in general, and that you're going to be able to do more damage to tanks,
especially with just like the easier access to CDR items.
Right.
You're not. I really feel like a lot of people don't need to go tier anymore with that.
No, I mean you could go Essence Reaver easy now, which would be great on him.
Yeah. All right. Vayne. Silverbolt's got tweaked a little bit. There's no longer base true damage. It's just percentage true damage with a minimum. But they bumped those percentages up. It went from 4 to 8 was the original. It's now 6 to 12. So I think a bigger buff for later game. And that minimum helps because if you think about like 6% at rank 1 on like a 500 health target, like that would have been 30 damage. You're getting a little bit of a bump to 40 with minimum. I like that. it makes her more dually, which is again her kind of paradigm.
I mean, it rewards you even more for being able to sit in that danger zone of auto attacking and staying in a fight. You're trying to keep up as much surface area to your auto attack compatibility as possible. So you want to stay just right on that edge because you're getting off more damage.
Right.
So this is
it makes her even scarier if you let her just snowball.
That's exactly it. It's gonna reward better Vayne players way more than what anybody else, because they're going to be getting more auto attacks off, but it's still a nice thing in that if you're able to get off 3 hits, you're doing a tiny chunk extra damage.
12% of their max health. Yeah,
but if you're able to just keep auto attacking somebody, they're going to melt even faster than they would have in the past, which terrifying on a really good Vayne player.
Yeah. My favorite AD carry for all time, it's Urgot. I think everyone's favorite AD carry.
He's up there. That's one of mine, actually.
Yeah, I love him. So he got a small change, which I think is going to help him a ton. His ult originally, after swapping, gave you 60 to 120 armor and magic resist for, I believe it's 5 seconds, which is big for dueling.
Right.
But it also meant that percent penetration kind of ruined that. It made it less effective. So now they switched it to 30, 40, 50% damage reduction, which is
penetration
awesome.
Be damned.
I will say awesome.
It's a big fuck you to everyone.
It is. Well, I'm so excited about that change, because it was always fun to like try to ult 1v1 fights, because everyone's like, oh, he's gonna ult, I'm just gonna switch places. And now when you're taking 50% less damage for that duration,
he's like a mini Alistar.
Yeah,
ult.
he has a mini Alistar ult with a reposition. I mean, it's half it's a little more than half as effective as an Alistar ult, but on a character that isn't as
have an Alistar
ult. That's exactly it. For somebody who
doesn't have legs,
the tankiest person, you can build some things on him to make him more tanky or whatever. 50% damage reduction is huge.
That is honestly, it's big.
Yeah. That's it. That's his survivability after he goes in the middle of a team.
It's twice as hard to kill him. That's exactly what
that's the math.
Yeah, it's twice as hard to kill him.
He's no longer a soft shelled crab.
He's a king crab.
A hard shelled crab.
Yeah. All right, Azir, bug fix. Everyone's always known Emperor's Divide's been kind of crazy buggy. Maybe this is the last one.
No, it's not.
No.
It's
There will be more bug fixes.
There will always be more.
I love your optimism.
They fixed a bug where Azir and his allies could be pinned to his wall as a result of abilities that collided with terrain. That's fun. Glad that's not happening anymore. Also, where Gnar couldn't wall stun using the Emperor's Divide. So also nice. I guess that would have had to be if it was coming back at them, not like pushing them through it, because I would assume that would just bounce them over. But I never tested that. Also, I love this. Fixed a heartbreaking yet funny bug where Azir's Phalanx would stop allied scions from being able to charge through it with unstoppable onslaught.
Azir, why?
I mean, that is pretty heartbreaking.
It's a way to troll you. I'd have had them troll me on purpose that way too.
You've had people do that to you?
On purpose.
My own ally, yeah.
Okay.
So
they're trying to save you from going into a bad fight.
Well, they didn't. That's what they were thinking. Like, no, I don't want you going in there. Here, but I was like, oh, I had a plan, guys. Nope. Yeah, no, it's on cooldown.
All right, Kindred. Few small changes. Health regen went down from 10 to 7. I guess per 5.
All right, that was kind of needed though, because once you get rolling in the jungle, if you're playing her in the jungle, you didn't have any health problems.
Well, even like in lane, that's necessary.
It didn't really matter what you bought. You were fine because of the passive on your W.
Yeah, that's true. You get that every couple seconds. You get a life steal attack.
As long as you're moving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Her passive changed a little bit too. The physical damage for monsters got capped at 75, which is still like 75 damage in auto attack. It's still pretty.
It's solid.
But that's that's the cap.
Yeah, it's a cap.
Right.
And then a small change to how the hunting works, which is the hunting is the neutral monsters. At 6 stacks, Wolf will now hunt Baron, Nashor, and Rift Herald instead of stopping his hunts. So if you're lucky enough to get 6 stacks off before 20 minutes, which is it's feasible, you can still go for Rift Herald.
Yep.
But I mean that's that makes sense. You didn't get anything else. Like once you hit 6 stacks, you just didn't hunt anything before, right?
Once you hit
you
6
still
stacks,
hunt your champions, but
you couldn't hunt the.
So it used to work like this. Once you hit 6 stacks, if you still had a markup on the enemy, like on any jungle camp, and you got a kill that got you that 6th stack, you could actually get the 7th stack off
if
of
it was still
the 7th or 8th or whatever, as long as that already marked monster was still alive. If you had 8 if you had 8 stacks and you went and killed that monster, you'd have your 9th. Just because like no more of those procced after the 6, after you already had 6.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't matter if Baron Nashor's on the map. Wolf wants to eat him.
Yeah.
Or the Rift Herald.
Okay. But I mean, it also means that Kindred can't auto do Baron at 20 minutes.
Well, and Kindred is already, I mean, I understand why they capped the damage against monsters, because that champion was already pretty good at like, hey, one other person around, I'll just melt whatever objective I'm near out of the jungle, whether it be Dragon, Baron, whatever. You have somebody that can tank or stay alive under Baron for a while, you could easily kill it with Kindred. She just pops W and then spams Q and circles around that thing while somebody else tanks it, doing a ton of damage, and usually is building Blade of the Rune King
the one thing
out of the gate.
Like, Kindred's gonna definitely have even a harder time taking like Rift Herald now, because she is one of like the only like established ranged junglers, and it already takes what 35% reduced damage from ranged champions.
Yeah, it's something real high.
But it takes bonus damage if you attack it in the back.
Right.
It takes a ton of bonus damage.
Thought that was a cool feature.
Yeah,
I think
cool.
we'll get to that later though.
Yeah. All right, there's a couple I want to skip. I'm going to skip over a couple champions because they're really, really small things. We'll go down to Shaco. Shaco's E used to, his little knife he throws, 2-shift poison, caused monsters to miss Shaco 20 to 30% of the time. Now slows their attack speed. I mean, it makes it a little bit more consistent instead of kind of random. But the cool thing, I think, which is going to affect a number of champions, his ultimate, his clone will now display fake versions of blue, red, and Baron buffs, which is also a fix for LeBlanc and Wukong.
Yep.
Both have that. So it's not super obvious which one's which.
It's going to be much, much harder to not get juked by any sort of decoy-esque ability.
Yeah, I mean, at least Wukong's is easy to tell, but yeah, Shaco and LeBlanc is he has to stand still when you hit W, but Shaco and LeBlanc, yeah, you could. There's already some great videos of like Pink Ward doing some crazy stuff with Shaco, but now when it's even harder to tell.
But you can say that it was already easy to tell, but now Wukong that has double buffs can just stand there and legitimately fake somebody out who was probably knew what he was going to do anyway, because in the past he'd just run up, be like, oh, I'm going to fake it out, I have both buffs, I hit W, and both those buffs disappear, and it's like, okay, now he's running away. So you would know if he's just standing there and he has both buffs, oh, he's just trying to fake it out and he didn't use his W, so whatever. Now you don't know. So if you don't have a pink or you don't have a way to see invisible targets, there's way more mind games that can be played. And the same thing goes for LeBlanc. LeBlanc has blue buff, pops her passive. Harder to figure out which one's the real one. You can't just make a real quick decision. Hey, that one has a little color around it. Let's kill that one.
You know, it's going to be funny. I think it's going to be a initial kind of small nerf to Wukong in that situation. Because if he like hits S and tries to pretend like he's decoying and people haven't read the patch notes, they'll just keep attacking him like, oh, he's trying to fake me out. And he's like, damn it, I thought this would work. He's like typing in all chat, read the patch notes, I'm gone.
While he's still there.
Yeah, he's still there trying not to do anything.
You hit S and they kill you and you just type LOL, you're bad, and then you're still dead and the world goes on.
Yeah. All right. Otherwise, there's some small nerfs buffs, regens for mana and attack damage. Base mana, base attack, base mana, regen all got kind of buffed, just based on the fact that there's no more mana pots. You can check those out. It's not worth even really covering because it's all pretty much
all night.
It's about 2.5 up for everybody. There's also some changes to empower basic attacks, other things you can read, because there's just a laundry list of things that weren't affecting champions properly if they had like CC, but the target flashed away as you were in the middle of like using it. It would sometimes stun them, it sometimes wouldn't, depending on the champ. So they kind of even that out.
Yeah, the TLDR is if somebody uses an empowered basic attack and it misses its target, it won't do damage, apply the effect, and the buff will be consumed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Blitzcrank's Power Fist.
Yeah, you can't. You flash and you can still get knocked up. Not happening anymore.
Or if you use it against Jack, so he's got his Counter Strike up, then the buff goes away. He doesn't get hit by it.
Yeah. So that's nice for consistency. Really kind of appreciate that. Rift Herald. We didn't really cover it very much on, what was that? Was that Monday? When did we? I don't remember which episode of this.
I think it was last week.
It was sometime last week.
We didn't see what he did.
Yeah, we've got a lot more of an idea of how Rift Herald works now. It's a mini Baron. It's kind of good for like 2 to 3 people to be able to take. But it's giving an objective in that top lane can actually worry about instead of being on an island for the first 20 minutes. So it is around starting at 4 minutes, and it stays around till 10 to 15 seconds before Baron comes up, depending on if it's in combat or not. And it respawns every 5 minutes. Important things: it's not something you could take alone. It really deals a lot of damage. Plus, it has a little eye on its back that opens every once in a while that we were talking about earlier. Which, if you attack it with a basic attack, it deals 15% of its max health as true damage. So something you can't do on your own. You definitely need somebody with you to do that. Rift Herald takes 35% less damage from ranged basic attacks, also weak card. It gives 50 gold to your whole team. Small buff that gives you, there's so much stuff with this. 10% increased damage, 40 move speed, the enhanced Baron recall, and minions near the person who has that buff gain 40% increased attack speed and 100 extra range for cannon minions. So not quite the Baron buff range that gets them out of turret range and able to fire, but still increased, which is pretty nice.
So it's got stats for both the jungler and the top laner. Mm-hmm. The movement speed for the jungler, and then the minion buffs for the top laner.
Mm-hmm. Give you some early push.
I really like the PvE mechanic they added to it, though.
Yeah, where you have
to time your attacks when his eyes
right?
open.
Yeah, mm-hmm. There's nothing like that except for, I guess, kind of moving around Dragon's attacks so it doesn't hit multiple people, or moving around Baron's attacks because you can see it beforehand. That's the only thing that's been kind of
raid bossy.
This is more interactive and it benefits you more than hurting you less.
Well, and it's also cool too, because if it's at 30, if it's at 29% health and its eye opens up and you hit it, its eye stays open, so you can, if you're playing Jax, somebody with an auto attack reset, you could hit that, immediately take it to 14% health, eye stays open, immediately use another auto attack reset, hit it again, and you have it. So if he opens his eye at less than 30% and you have an auto attack reset, you basically automatically get the kill. So you have a 30% smite as long as you can time things. That's awesome for anybody with that the ability to do that.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Mm-hmm. It's not something that I saw taken a ton, but it was on PB, but it was still new. Like,
I think
it was still
just people were afraid of dying to it.
Yeah, like I don't want to be that
like
person.
A truck.
It really does. Like you take it really quick, like because of that backstab ability, but it also messes you up. Like
you have to be able to live long enough for the eye to continuously open.
Right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if somebody swoops in to kill you while that's happening, you're probably dead. Unless
so, it's probably the person that's tanking him is probably the one that wants to get the buff, so you can use the enhanced back to heal.
Right.
I assume.
I guess it's more on what you're trying to do.
Like, it seems like an alternative to getting Dragon after a successful gank in either top or mid lane. You can say, hey,
let's go get Rift Herald.
Right, and then you can come back and just push down the tower. Exactly.
Yeah. Or like, let's say even you're getting your mid laner blue buff as a jungler, or your top laner just happens to get a kill. It's like, oh, hey, this is a great opportunity. Right. Let's just go get Rift Herald, whatever. Let's get a big advantage because something went our way. So another little nice snowball mechanic to help teams that are doing well continue to do well.
I don't think it's really going to move around the lanes like some people are like theorizing it may. Bottom lane's, I think, still going to be bottom lane. Top lane's still going to be top lane.
Yeah, you can't really punish if your opponent uses teleport to leave the lane. It's not like you can take this by yourself and then punish with a hard push.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if that was the case, teleport would probably just stop being used altogether. That's probably why they didn't do that. But.
Also, with the Rift Herald taking 35% less damage from ranged attacks, you would want to keep your bottom laner, your AD carry bottom lane for the most part anyway, because they're not getting as much of a bonus as like a Tryndamere or a Jax or a Riven or somebody who can, put out a lot of damage anyway, or anybody that's a strong duelist out of top. They would be able to take it quicker. So if your jungler and your mid were able to show up, or your jungler is able to just tank it while your top laner kills it, or vice versa, that works out great. I mean, it shouldn't change anything too crazy.
Yeah. I also like the 200, I guess it's 250 total gold for your team. It's not like the old Dragon where it was like 150 gold per person. It's not game breaking, but it's nice that you're getting some help to the people farther away. To like say, hey, let's keep them bottom for a second. Like the jungler's down here, you guys go Rift Herald.
Right. Well, it gives you it's gonna make junglers way more cognizant of what's going on at the opposite side of the map that they're not currently on at any time. You're gonna have to pay way more attention because, like, okay, I could go and gank bot and get the juicy double kill, but if I do and their jungler's around top, they just take the Rift Herald, and then top lane has a giant disadvantage for the next.
It's just one more thing that can now just be left open to be taken by the other jungler.
It allows for interesting rotations and the ability, like, it not only does it offer a snowball mechanic, but it also offers like, okay, this is us punishing you for making that play. We can take something else for it. It gives more opportunities to everybody on either team.
Yeah.
To do something.
Well, thinking on that, Riot's been talking about they're trying to change a bit of the game pacing. Rift Herald was one of those main things. They're also changing a bunch of gold-related things. Ambient gold is up by a whole whopping 0.7 gold per 5 seconds, which I'm sure everyone's going to realize. This is interesting. So there's a lot of, I don't want to say comeback mechanics being built in or snowball mechanics, because we're going to cover one of those, I think, next week. There's a big minion change that's based on who's kind of ahead in terms of levels and turrets.
We'll see if that even actually ends up going live as it is.
Yeah, I think there was a massive panic when the 522 notes came out, because everyone's like, wait, holy crap, what is this? And then they found, I think, a bug, but that bug may have been really serendipitous, because they might have thought, oh, wait, we should maybe actually tune this a little bit first.
Actually try it out first, maybe.
But Ambient Gold's also another thing, and I'm just now reading this one. After 12 minutes, the 2 members of each team with the least gold at any given moment gain an additional 2 gold per 5 seconds. It's increasing by 0.1. It's like, so you're getting a little bit of help. You're getting a little bit of help for people.
Right. It's nothing too substantial, honestly. Like 10 minutes, you're not.
And this might also be something too where it helps keep people from maybe surrendering immediately at 20 minutes, because let's say that you had a really, really rough time and wherever you're at, whether it be jungle or top lane or bottom, whatever, and you're really down in gold, but you're like, all right, guys, I'm banking on that extra 2 gold per 5 seconds after 12 minutes, so at 30 minutes I'm still gonna maybe be useful.
Are you fighting the support to get one of the bottom spots?
It's
hey, support, go ahead and take that one. Yeah, you're gonna take that creep.
It's important to note that it isn't for the losing team. It's each team gets 2 members that do this, so it's going to be really support and
for any
either jungle or top lane, probably is what I'd guess.
It's likely going to be jungle and support. Yeah. I mean, I don't know with jungle getting a little bit more gold too from just clearing.
Are they getting more gold?
They were, at least that was on the PBE.
Well, I know that. Well, they took the gold increase off of the smite item.
Yes.
And
it's experience now.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's
they upped it. No, I think they still up the total gold of the camps
by 5, like 5 or something. So it's compensated, so it's around even.
I know Dom did the math and it worked out to I think a bonus 100 something gold per clear.
Wow. Okay.
I don't quote me on that. I should go and
whether that includes the smite or not.
Right. But I think it increases the gold a little bit, but I'll verify that and make sure.
Okay. But like back with the ambient gold increase, over 10 minutes, that's still only 240 gold. It's nothing substantial. It's just a little extra, hey, you've had a bad game. Just giving you a little pat on the back, honestly.
Yeah. All right, so kill gold. This is one of the more interesting ones. And one thing I didn't realize when I was first playing PB is there was a little banner coming next to your champion health bar. And I didn't know what it was.
Games. Why the fuck am I on a killing spree? I've only had 2 kills.
Yeah. So first of all, you get a banner that tells you what tier of bounty you are currently holding. Okay. And that goes up. It's like killing spree, legendary, whatever, all those. There's 5 tiers. One is the first one rarely ever happens, but we'll talk about that in a sec. So you get on a killing spree at 2 consecutive kills, and that puts you at the first level of bounty technically.
Second.
And then second, sorry. And then it goes up to 5 kills is where that caps out. That's still unchanged from live. It's bounties are no longer reset on death. Instead, dying reduces the bounty tier by 3. So that's where you can drop to that tier 1. But what's really important, and this is really cool, I think, now bounties provide team gold, not to just the killer. You don't get that ton of gold plus the assist gold getting spread out. You now get, it starts at 30 really. The tier 1 is 20, but that's rarely going to happen. You get 30, 60, 70, 90 global gold to your team when you take out a person who's on a killing spree.
That is good. That is good so that you don't risk stealing a kill just because you want to get a hit on that guy, so you get a little bit of a piece of the pie.
When your support takes a 500 bounty.
Right, exactly.
That always felt bad. It's like, well, at least he's dead.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get an assist on it. Well, now you will.
Yeah, I really like that change.
Gold-wise.
Yeah, it's you're getting a lot more global gold things with that, with the ambient, with Rift Herald. Also, the emblems look kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
So you actually know, instead of having to like hit Z and look through like the chat and see, all right, who's on a killing spree, got to go take them out. You can actually see it pretty easily, and it's pretty obvious because it just builds up and makes it more flashy the higher tier you are. Assist streaks don't count toward bonus gold, or no longer grant bonus gold. Cool.
There's no reason to ever kill the support.
Consecutive assists. So I never even knew consecutive assists.
From Dom's post on November 9th, he says it's 125 more total gold added to the jungle per clear.
Okay.
So and that's just because each monster's getting roughly 20-ish more gold. And even if you look at Riot's notes, they say they wanted to up the gold amount anyway. So gold amount's up, experience is down, so you get less experience if you don't have a jungle item, but if you have a jungle item, you're still getting experience. If that makes sense.
Got it.
So like the jungle overall, as long as you're killing the main, the big raptor, the big Krug, as long as you're killing the big monster in the jungle, you're getting more gold regardless of where you're at, but you're not getting as much experience unless you have a jungle item.
Right.
All right. Last, I think, big thing, since we're not going to cover minions quite yet until we see or have actually a better idea, because I haven't seen it in game yet. Turrets got changed a little bit. They don't have armor and magic resist, or at least base anymore, which is it's not too big of a deal. They still get a ton of it when there's enemy, or if there's no minions nearby, which always made just backdooring really difficult. The inner turrets no longer shield nearby players, which is, I don't know. I never really. I recognized that it happened whenever I was walking to lane at the beginning of the game, but I never found myself.
I don't think it had
that much.
as big an impact as we originally thought.
Yeah,
I think that's as much as Wyatt originally thought.
In the cases where someone is just relentlessly pushing the lane, if they're just that far ahead and no one has actually come to stop them.
I've had it save me from like those times when I'm an idiot and I'm hurt and I stop at a turret to back, and then I'm hit by Jinx Rocket or something. I'm like, oh, it's a good thing I had the little
or
shield.
Ignite.
Because I was by that turret.
Ignite went through it though.
Oh, never mind. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember. I thought that was a thing.
So many little things
early on. Yeah, there's this game. If
I
came in right now,
shield's gone.
if you came in right now to League as a new player, there'd be so many things to learn. Other small thing
there's a bunch of things to learn, even if you're a veteran.
Yeah, right. We're learning stuff right now. Turret mechanics. The damage dealt to turrets is now. It used to be 0.1 of your base attack damage plus 0.1 of your bonus attack damage, or 40% of your AP. That's getting bumped up to 50% of your AP. So it's a slight mage buff in terms of them being able to do damage to turrets. It doesn't really affect you too much until you get like 150, 200 AP.
120, 140 roughly.
Oh, I guess no. It has to affect you early because it's bonus attack damage. Because you would never be getting really a bonus from bonus attack damage, if you're a mage. So it's just every point of AP is going to start adding up early.
Yeah. No. What did I think again?
Good observation. Bonus or all ability. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. As I said, resistances already happen. They gain 2 armor and magic resist per minute. Small things.
It only goes up to 30.
Of 30.
It caps at 30.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, that's important.
15 minutes until it's capped.
Yeah, it's 15 minutes. It goes up 15 minutes per. I don't want to say rank of turrets, but yeah, tier is better, much better word for it. Outer turrets are at game start. Inners are at 15 minutes. Inhibitor and Nexus turrets are at 30 minutes to start that gaining of armor and magic resist. But to compensate for that lowering of 100 base armor and magic resist, even when you're talking about no minions around, they've boosted the health real high
by a lot.
Yeah, it's outer turrets went from 2,000 to 3,500. Inner turrets went from 2,500 to that same 3,500. And Nexus and inhibitors are now 4,000 from 2,800 and 3,000.
So
is that
as far as
what
effective health goes? I think this is still lower.
Yeah, it might be lower actually. I don't know. I don't know where the break even is there. Resist.
I should have calculated this before the show, but
but by the time
you're
on the Nexus with the inhibitor, you're going to have some penetration to pretty much negate a lot of that effective health.
Does penetration affect turrets though?
I don't like. If you're saying if you had like 10 armor pen and the turret has 0 armor, would it then have negative 10 armor effectively?
Well, everything else would. So if it affects it at all, yeah. Regardless, Joe, it's not like there's a clear cut. It's way more health, or it's not. We'll find that out eventually. The other last changes for turrets. The local gold got bumped up. Local gold is the gold that is split amongst the players who are around the turret when it is killed. I believe it's split evenly. It went from 150 to 220 on the outer turrets, 100 on inner turrets to 250. So actually a pretty big boost on inner turret local gold. So you get a pretty big bonus if you are around for that.
I think what's really interesting with these turret changes and eventually the minion changes is they're going in. They're adding snowball back into the game,
right?
Whereas historically, the last couple of seasons, they've been taking it away. They've been putting it
slowing it down,
and now they're like, okay,
nope.
Yeah, if you're winning, you should win the game.
Yeah,
that's kind of what they're doing here. I mean, if you take an early turret, the second tier turret's gonna be easier to kill because it takes longer for the armor resistance to stack up, and of course, you're gonna gain more gold whenever you kill it.
It's gonna incentivize. Okay, we took the outer turret. Should we move on to the next turret real quick? Before they all spawn. Yeah, let's move on and probably kill it before they all spawn, and then we can back. We'll take 2 in a shot instead of 1.
Or if you're winning a single lane hard enough, then that incentivizes you to just stay in that lane, keep pushing it.
Right.
Yep. So, and then it makes the other team like, whoa, we really have to react to this lane. But then split pushing and hitting the same on the other turret, it's gonna change the dynamic of the game a little bit, I think.
Just a little bit.
It's gonna make it more stressful when you're losing. That's for sure.
I wonder if
objectives, that is.
So with these changes and with the Rift Herald in top lane, if split pushing top laner is going to be a big thing again.
That's definitely
and with global gold for killing. Someone who's in the team fights
teleport isn't going to be as big of a thing.
I'll be really curious. Like that's a question that I think will be really good to talk about once we see the minion.
Right, that's going to
what
be
it comes out as, because that's.
I mean, you still need to snowball it.
Yeah, you still need to snowball, but it's saying, do you want is it going to roll even harder if you get those turrets early?
Yeah, because those minion changes would that would be a motherfucking giant snowball.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see final numbers on that.
Right,
once it's tweaked.
Right.
But I don't want to. Yeah, so I don't want to jump into that. We've covered most everything else. But Scott, I know you got to play some PB, and I was wondering. I've gotten to talk about it last couple episodes. Pone got to share some of his insight too. I didn't know if there's anything that you had to take away from the big preseason things that you wanted to cover real quick or share with people.
Well, as far as like the Keystone Masteries go, I don't know how much you guys talked about it, but it seems already just really standard what you're gonna get.
Right.
Especially Marksman and AD people, like that extra healing on crit is fucking huge, and especially on like people who already have crit built into their kit, Yasuo and like Tryndamere, and even like Gangplank, their crits early on are just the way it is, right? Like Tryndamere, it's almost stupid to try to push him out of lane with just how much he can sustain.
Yeah, I think one thing that Pone said we forgot to mention is that crit strikes on that Warlord's Wild list heal you for 15% of the damage dealt.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's, and I know we said that, but to reiterate, it heals you for 15% of the damage dealt.
Critical hit damage.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. You said, I think you were saying Yasuo is pretty much permabanned in NPB whenever you've been playing.
Just because of that, plus he can now get 100% crit chance off of just 2 items.
That's
yeah. How did this build change with this?
Shiv, IE.
Okay, so it's the same.
I mean, no more Trinity Force. So
what about Death's Dance?
On him, I see it more on like other.
Because the heal's already
AD
good, so why add another one?
Assassins. More
Yeah.
like, so like Talon, Rengar, Riven definitely.
You know me, I'm thinking Pantheon with this one,
Right.
just because
It's
you're thinking Pantheon with everything.
I am.
I do like this item.
Yeah, it's cool. Any other like did you get to play any champions that you thought were like stupidly overpowered or
Off the top of my head, shit. Well,
Sorry to put you on the
Graves
spot.
definitely.
yeah, also permaban from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll see how that actually shakes out after this patch goes. Has a couple days to settle down. Yeah, I really just played bottom lane. I like the changes to Misfortune. Quinn, the way that it ended up being, can do stupid amounts of damage later on. Boy, I can't.
You don't have to cover them all.
Yeah,
but I figure if you got anything,
I think people overestimate how much Kog'Maw, how big of a threat Kog'Maw really is. Just because, like, even if he's to that point where he can get 5 attacks per second, if you're letting him do that, you know, you're already dead. But
You're probably done.
he's still incredibly immobile.
Is he getting picked a lot because of his new kit?
He did initially, but then people really stopped because they realize, okay, if I'm going to attack this much, that means I literally just have to stand here this whole time.
Even more vulnerable than before.
Right. So like we said earlier, it really does. Riot did a good job of accentuating the strong points in the AD carry's kit, but also exploiting their weaknesses.
I'm really excited to see the like when this patch first dropped on PBE, everyone was like fighting in blind pick to be the first one to pick Graves.
Right.
And I realize now if I go onto live, I'm gonna have the same thing happen. And I already just got done
Graves.
dealing with that. No, but I mean, like, if you go into like blind pick or even in draft pick, everyone's going to be typing AD carry and saying, I said it first, and go back to their 12-year-old mentality.
Everyone wants to play AD carry.
Sorry
Fuck
for
you
any
guys. I
12-year-olds
was playing it when
listening.
no one wanted to play it.
That's right.
You'll see a lot more popping up in the other lanes because they just wanted to play it and they couldn't get it. So,
Play
all right,
Graves,
I'll just do the
jungle,
Varus
Vayne,
mid.
top.
Yeah.
Quinn top still works.
They do. They're gonna use them a lot more because they really want to mess around with this, and it makes sense. It's beginning. It's fun.
That's
It's
fine.
new. It's exciting.
She seems like she could split push really hard. Be that first like top champion that's only based on like I'm gonna take your turret,
I
and
want
if
to
you
see
try to stop
Nasus
me,
just like
run
one
away.
hit a turret now.
That should be pretty sweet. So yeah, guys, I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to cover before we finish up our preseason episodes. I'm pretty much all preseasoned out.
It just started,
It's
baby.
been
You
4
got
episodes.
months.
Four
I was about to
episodes.
say
Now it's time to put it all into
four
action.
episodes, and this is just the first rotation of what they've decided to release for the preseason before we run into what happened during like when they redid Black Cleaver way back in the day when everybody was buying it, and then there was an entirely new set of things that came through. So the preseason is a wonderful 3 months of just crazy shit coming out every month.
It's like
And
a PBE.
I love this time of year.
It's like PBE on live because you're still testing everything before it really matters for ranked or anything important. I guess I don't know if IEM's gonna have this patch. If it does, I'm so oh my gosh, I need to check that. That'd be
I think
incredible.
they usually have
Interesting.
gone off of like the new season patches for IEM.
Oh, I hope so. That would be
it's
so
gonna be
much
crazy.
fun.
But
Very
no,
yeah,
dang it, no, it's gonna be 521.
it will. Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's too bad.
Well, sorry to kill that. Really,
cowards.
that excitement was a very quick roller coaster. But yeah, if anything else, guys,
Don't get Cole. In most lanes, don't get Cole.
Call. I thought you said cold. I'm
Are
like,
they
yeah, it's getting cold.
You see a
out
lot
here
of
now.
aggressive lanes in
Santa
the bot,
Claus gonna put cull in your
It's just-
stocking. Here, have it.
or is it just
even-
too lackluster?
It's even though it is like technically gold efficient, you can get more gold out of it than you put into it. Doran's Blade is a better choice in almost all the time, unless you know that you can be safe.
Yep.
Good call.
Okay.
All right, guys. I think
You-
that'll do it for us for episode 310. I don't know what we're going to be coming back to next week, but everyone's probably going to have tried everything, and you guys should have a fun time discussing all
Yep.
the shenanigans
Right.
tried out.
Yep, it goes from theory crafting to okay, here's what really happened.
It's
Oh, boy.
gonna. I feel like it's gonna be all over the place, and people's experiences just like, no, this is really what's been powerful now.
Yeah.
Right.
Urgot.
It's Urgot.
Fuck.
Spoiler
It's
alert,
Urgot.
guys.
Top laner guy.
All right, guys, that'll do it. Everyone say bye.
See ya.
See ya. We love you. Bye.
Yeah, later. Bye.